All right, what's going on, guys? This is Jordan again from the Undergraduate Survival Guide. Today we've got a good old Bristol graduate, my friend Samir. I haven't actually seen you in a very long time, man. So I know we talked about it just for a second, but give us a rundown of how you've been recently.
Oh, yeah, it has been a while, man. How have I been? So, graduated in July, on the gap year now, obviously. So it's been good, man. It's been riding the high of like, graduating and, finishing application process. Obviously there's a bit of a situation right now, stop me going on holiday and stuff, but, it is what it is. We move. But yeah, good, man. How are you? It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm grateful that I failed my first year because if I was graduating into this economy,
Hey,
I would be
that
struggling.
hits a bit too hard for me, man. Um, yeah, yeah.
No,
We'll
I
see how
make
we'll see how it goes.
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
How come you? I mean, I guess it's kind of obvious for people that have been through uni, but how come you decided to do a gap year?
Oh, do you know what? It's like genuinely, I feel like not to put anyone off. Obviously, uni's great and stuff, but
Mm.
because you work so hard and you grind so hard to get your grades and get your degree or just try to get through it. I think everyone just deserves a rest, man. You earn. I feel like you've earned it. Like once you finish, or whether you had it before uni or after uni, even if you did have one before uni, I feel like just you've earned a rest and like a bit of a holiday, a bit of time to just de-stress and like I don't know, just reward yourself, innit? I feel. So I think
Mm.
yeah, that's basically just where it came from. I just wanted a break, like take it slow. Still young, got time. No
Yeah,
need to rush into everything after like just put in so much work. But yeah, man, I think that's where it came from. But
Did you
yeah.
did you do one before uni?
No, no. So I think also that's another thing. Like I feel like meeting so many people at uni who had, been on a gap year and all that. Um, it was, just seeing all these pictures and where they've been and like how sick it was kind of like made me want to do it as well. It's like and yeah, I guess it's just nice to have like a gap between uni and get entering the real world because I imagine it's going to be very different. And also a bit scary, but yeah, I feel like yeah, everyone just deserves it, man. Like I was gonna go to still in the process of getting the refunds and stuff, but I was supposed to go to like Bali, Thailand, Malaysia, and then see my family in Bangladesh.
Damn.
Um, yeah, it's a bit of a sticky one, isn't it? But yeah, no, I'm not fussed. Like still had a good time. Um, still like mentally like to be able to recharge it's still nice. Now I'm just playing PS4s. I don't mind. Playing Warzone.
Yeah, I need to get back on that, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
came I came back to Bristol to focus, and I was like, damn, I left my PS4 behind.
Oh, I mean, it could be a blessing, innit? Like, I guess you still have some exams, so,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
distractions. Could be a
Ho-
blessing in disguise.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully.
Yeah.
For me, like, I was so close to doing a gap year before uni,
Oh,
but I
yeah?
thought, you know what? I'm 18 years old, just about. There were so many things I
Yeah.
couldn't do. Like, I wanted to go to America, but you can't even drink in America till 21. I couldn't drive at the time.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
It's
Also,
nuts
another
how.
thing is like before starting uni, I just had no bread. Like, I could have a gap year, but I just spent it doing nothing. Like, what am I gonna do? Yeah. It's nothing.
That's very true.
But,
I would have had to
yeah.
work like 8 months
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Like, I
travel
spent
for
a lot
like
of
two
this.
weeks.
Yeah, exactly. That's the peak bit, because, like, since graduating and stuff was great. I gave myself the summer off, obviously, but
Mm.
from September when applications opened, I think I started work in July. I started just like bar work and stuff in July, um, all the way through to like the lockdown. Had like Christmas off, and there was the application process on top of that. So I did the hard bit. As soon as the hard bit was done, the good bit, I was about to go on holiday. It's just like, no, you got to stay inside. Like, oh, come
Horrible.
on, so close.
There's always next summer, eh?
Always next summer, yeah. Like, yeah, 28 days off a year. It's one of them ones now.
Oh man. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, 24 in my case.
Do you think, I mean, obviously you haven't started working yet, but
Mm.
I feel like a lot of people miss uni once they graduate. I feel like you must be in that bag now, right?
Oh, 100%. Even yesterday I was talking to one of my housemates for like 3 years, and we were just deep in it, man. We were just like, we miss it. Like, we just, imagine being in I mean, you might still be in the same position, but like being in lockdown, but you're still with all your mates in the same house, or just like even during uni, like everyone's just like a corridor away from you. You'd have not a very nice day at the library or at uni. You come home, all your mates are there. It's just a nice environment, Once you find your squad and find your group, and having them in such close proximity is, yeah, definitely miss that. I don't know. How about you? Are you still living with anyone or?
Yeah, this year I'm actually in halls,
Oh yeah,
which is
yeah,
a
yeah.
pain. But
Ah.
I guess first year is because I'm like everyone else I'm living with is first year, and because their
Mhm.
exams don't count. As soon as Boris said like schools are closed, they're like, all right, bye, I'm out.
I just dipped home. Yeah.
Just dipped instantly.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like,
I
it's
I would do the
interesting.
same.
Yeah, to be fair, I would have done the same as well.
Yeah.
Some people are still around, like from
Yeah.
second and third year,
hmm
but yeah, it's mad.
Yeah. Do you reckon you'll miss it? Obviously, you're still there, but
Absolutely,
do you think? Yeah, definitely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking at you guys, I mean, 28 days is peaks.
It's not the one, man. Like summer, like having like 2 months off every summer. Like this is the last summer I was gonna have where it's like I'm not strained by like work or like anything. Is what it is. Is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I did. You ever watch that Disney Channel on that growing up? Do you remember Codename Kids Next Door?
There's a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the five. Yeah, number one, two, three, four, five.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I used to watch so many shows growing up, and they would always say like, "Oh, I can't wait to get old, can't wait to get old." And I think that
yeah,
was the only one that was like, once you hit 13, life's deep.
yeah. They tried to warn us, man. Tried to warn us.
And I never clocked into like I even miss school going through uni. So I used to miss seeing the same people every day for 6 hours a day, having lunch together, playing football outside every
Oh
day.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
All those good times
yeah,
kind of. I mean, uni is by no means worse than school, but it's very different in terms of now you got to work at home, now you got to see friends, you have to organize things. And then I feel like
yeah.
work is like the final straw when no one's ever free at the same time. Um, it gets to an age where some people are getting married and having kids, some people are doing virtual dates on Tinder, watching Tiger King, like.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. It's a bit mad. It's a bit mad. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a crazy time.
yeah, 100%, man.
What
Yeah.
sort of what sort of mindset are you in? Are you just focused on work at the moment, getting the bread?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I had another conversation with someone yesterday as well. Like, so obviously this year was to, just literally just enjoy myself. But now that lockdown's happened and it seems like by the time it's over, I'm gonna start working. Now, like, the only thing I can think about is, you know, getting the bread, saving the bread, like all that stuff, like more adult things. Like my friend was talking about um, a lifetime ISA, which is like an individual savings account, and you can't touch it until you're like putting a deposit down for a house or a flat.
Hmm.
And but what you have in there every year, they add on 25% of it. So if you have 4 grand, they'll give you another grand every year. And like the fact that we were having that conversation was just like, whoa, this is nuts. Like, last year we were talking about going Tops Pizza or going Jason Donovan. Now we're talking about like how many bank accounts you need to save for a house. Like, what do you mean?
Madness.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. But yeah,
It's,
the mindset is, what, like my drive. I think that's one thing that uni's taught me. And once you're like, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's hard. It's so as enjoyable as it is, the work and all the deadlines you have, and not just the deadlines, like getting them handed in to a good quality, to a good standard.
mm,
It's hard, but once you get out on the other side, like your motivation and your work ethic is just like mine right now. Now that I've like climbed, finished it, and now luckily have a job secured, my motivation is like rah. Like I went through all that. I can do anything now. Like and I think that's the most transferable skill you get from uni, because like when when you apply for jobs, obviously maybe not like your skills a bit more specific. Like you need an engineering degree to do engineering most of the time, but in like banking or something, they do accept all kinds of degrees, and it just goes to show that the things you may learn in your modules and in your course may not necessarily always be transferred to your job, because they'll train you again. But what does get transferred to any job and just any aspect of life is the work ethic and the strength that you develop over your time at uni. And yeah, that's just the most transferable skill, I think. And that's the one I feel like I'm feeling the most right now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
most gas to have. Yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah.
I think
But yeah, man.
I want to talk about uni as well,
Yeah.
but you brought up an interesting point a second ago to do with like, I guess, financial education, talking about lifetime ISAs and that. Because I've always been, well, for the last 3 years, I'd say, crazy into that sort of stuff. I was literally,
Mm-hmm.
before I called you, looking at opening, because I already have I call it a Lisa, but a cash one. I was looking at getting
Oh,
a
yeah.
stocks and shares one because, like, obviously, because of the crisis at the moment, all prices are low.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? Let me get into an index fund. Just make bare
Yeah.
peas.
Yeah. Yeah.
4 years
Yeah.
from now, I'll have that all sorted.
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, it's going down now, obviously, but it's going at some point, eventually, it will climb back up. Like, you know, at least if you invest in, like, you know, FTSE 100 or whatever, like, it will go up eventually. Like, it's not just going to go down forever. It may be a while till it gets back up, but it will. But I don't know. I'm not an investor or anything yet. I don't know. But I think it would be a good idea to do something like that. I think to do the research, and now would be a good time to do the research. I think definitely with like what's going on.
Yeah, I'll
But
send you
yeah,
some links. But wait,
yeah, go for it.
what was yours, that degree title? Just pure econ.
It was straight econ. Yeah.
Okay. Like, how come you decided to do that? Were you always like, do you care about finances, or was it just like, it's a safe degree to do, so I'll go for that?
It was mainly it was because it's a safe degree. I think. Like in terms of, you know, it's just, I guess it's just people like to see that degree, I suppose. But also like just it's got a simple reason is like when I went to college and did A levels, economics was just the one I enjoyed the most. I did economics, maths, chemistry, psychology,
Wow.
and my econ teacher was just, he was just so nice. Like, I just liked it, and that's why I wanted to do it. Because you know when you do it for 3 years, oh, you're gonna have to like it a little bit. Like it's gonna be peak if you're there with that much work on something you don't like. Yeah. It got deep though. Like I remember first year I was learning about all that stuff I learned at college, and like I was still quite interested, like, you know, financial crisis and like housing markets and stuff. But then like, and I got drawn in the year, like it didn't count towards anything. But then in second and third year, it just got mad, like econometrics, like stats and like numbers and letters, and like I just didn't understand what was going on. Like it just got so mad, like it just drew me in like with the fishing rod, and then it just got deep. Like I just got sold a dream.
Damn.
But yeah, but again, like it was the fact that you come out the other side is still gassed, man. Like yeah, a lot stronger.
That's nuts. I can tell
Yeah.
you come on a real mental journey.
Oh mate, don't get me started. Don't get me started. I could, man, I could tell you everything that went down. Actually, you know what? I will.
Yeah,
Okay.
go for it, man. Highs and
Yeah,
lows.
man. Yeah, definitely. How was your my first year? I'm not gonna, it was perfect. Like I mean, it may not be the case for everyone listening. I know someone whose third year was the best. You know, that's when they found the squad. For me, it was my first year. I don't know. How about you?
I can't say.
No, they all
The
banged.
verdict's
They
still
all didn't.
out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be here for
That's it.
6 years, so
Yeah, you've got, yeah, that's
let
nice.
me not
I'm
get in trouble
jealous,
too
man.
early.
That's calm, man. I'm jealous. But yeah, so for me, that first year, like, obviously things it didn't count, but, you know, it was just enjoyable because, you know, it didn't count. The pressure was not as straining, but, you know, you're meeting all these people, hopefully getting along with all these people, making these new friends, new relationships, new bonds. Everything just was just so perfect in first year. I couldn't have asked for a better first year. But then that summer came, and then, man, there's like so many, like, I was looking at my life like something, I must have walked under a ladder or like broke a mirror or just something's giving me some bad luck right now because
Damn.
like the things life are throwing at me. So that summer, so first year summer, I think, yeah, so I think like I was having like problems with my mental health, and I don't know like where it came from. Like it's hard to find like the root. I don't know, maybe it's happened in my family a bit here and there, but don't know the route, but then I took that into second year, and obviously told my flatmates before, and it's like, okay, guys, I might not go out as much. It's a bit mad right now, because you need to, in a time like that, your friends and family are the best people who can pick you up when you're down.
Yeah.
But they need to know you're down to begin with. So that's why, I told them. And yes, he took that into second year, yeah. And then, man, January exams happened, yeah. And I looked at what my grades were. And are you ready for this, yeah? So I got, let me see. So the first set of exams that counted, I got 43, 48, and 60. And I worked hard. For that. And then, I don't know, man, what was your, after your first year, what's that feeling like? It's just mad, innit?
Yeah, because I failed my first year, but
yeah,
for me, at the whole time I was like, oh, well, it doesn't count. I don't really care. And then this year, this thing called second year, it's bad. Yeah. It's because I feel like first year they design it so people coming through A levels don't feel it as much. Yeah. Second year is kind of where you really starts, where you really get all these mad equations, and it's like, oh my days, what
is happened? I think the jump from first to second is the biggest. Second to third, I think if you finish second year, you know how much you need to work now. But that first to second year jump is insane. So be ready for that, I guess. But second to third year, the jump is smaller. But
that's good to hear.
But yeah, man, I saw those grades and I was like, man, if I had I not tried and I flopped, I'd have been like, okay, fine. I didn't try, I'll try harder next time. But I worked hard and still, averaged a 50 when I wanted to average 60 minimum. And that's hard, man, because then you start doubting yourself. You're like, rah, should I be here? Am I smart enough to be here? Because it's easy to get to uni and then see all these people that are so smart, and, smarter than you, because say on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being no education, 10 being a PhD.
Yeah.
I reckon A star AA, all that band of people, everyone who went to Bristol, for example, that's probably a 6 or a 7 and up. So if I'm a 6, I'm still categorized with the 10s. So I come to uni and I see all these guys and I'm like, wow, they're so smart. Why am I so how am I averaging 50? What's going on? So that was, that was another big blow, man. It's just another, that's second year. So there's the health thing, and then there's the grades, and then it comes to summer exams, and I'm like, man, I need to bang this, man. This is, luckily it was 40, 30%, but so I need to bang this. And then so another thing happens. It's just, again, unplanned. Sometimes life just throws things at you and you just have to it's just testing your perseverance, isn't it? And the fact that at uni, you have this goal, this greater goal, which is to get your degree. The fact that you have to keep charging on towards that, despite people throwing all these rocks at you, that's what makes you stronger, I think. And so in that Easter in second year, I then went through a breakup. And yeah. And then what happens after Easter?
Summer exams,
exactly. I was I was literally looking at my life. Obviously, she wasn't happy. That's fine. It happens. But I was looking at my life and I was like, man, in Warzone when you're down and then it just says precision airstrike incoming and you're just fam, I'm already done out here, man. Give me a break. Come on. But yeah, that was the biggest blow. And then somehow, get back to uni. I'm like, okay, this is awful, man. I need to drag this grade up. I'm not happy as it is. Now I've had this happen. And, so honestly, some days I just wake up and I just stare at the ceiling and be I need to drop out. I need to drop out. Allow it. Yeah. But then that's the thing. It comes to a point in your life where things can go wrong and you have to ask yourself, you have to take a step back and ask yourself, what kept me going before all these things went wrong? Because whatever was holding me together then is going to be able to piece me together now and stop me from quitting and giving up on my goals. And once I kind of thought about that and, and in my case, it was, I was learning GCSEs and A-levels and working hard for free. Like, I wasn't paying for this. I didn't need to do it, but I was working hard. Why was I working so hard? And I was like, okay, in my case, from a young age, my parents was like, get a job, go education, get a degree, get a job.
Yeah.
And then that's always been my motivations, to be able to provide for myself, provide for my family, and so on and so forth. And when you kind of find that original intention and motivation, that kind of that kept me going for that exam season. And then, it just, oh man, it was tough, but we came out the other end and then averaged 58, and it wasn't perfect, but considering the circumstances where I could have just got 0 and just not went to the exams, I was gassed. I was gassed. And then I was gassed, man. And then that summer happened. That summer was so good for to just take a break from it. Cause that was the summer England went quite far in the World Cup. I don't know. Do you remember that summer?
Yeah, that would have been 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, that summer was mad. I don't know.
Good, yeah.
The weather was banging. England was doing bits. Yeah, that summer was good. Yeah, I was gassed. Yeah, and then we come back to third year, and I'm like, okay, now it's I think I have to average 66. So, 66, 67, whatever it is. And then this is it's just still going. I'm still getting bad luck for some reason. I'm in the library, library, doing an application for HSBC. And then midway through the application, my neck just it gets stuck at a 90-degree angle. And I'm looking to the right and I just cannot move it. If I move it, it's the worst pain I've ever felt. And then I just went home, and then the next day my friend sent me to a GP and they gave me this cocodamol, which is I don't know if you heard about it, but it's a strong painkiller, man. And I was in bed for a week, back into third year, I was yeah, let's do this. This is the year. And I'm just bedridden. And these painkillers were so strong, yeah. So they told me to put a hot water bottle on my neck, to try and, loosen it up and then move it as much as I can when the pain goes. They were so strong. I hadn't realized that I didn't put the cover on the hot water bottle. And then so I was just sat there on my, in my bed with the hot water bottle on my neck, just for ages, not feeling the thing. And the next day I go into my kitchen and my flatmate's yo, what's that on your neck? And I just burned, I literally just burned my whole neck. And that's how strong it was. I just sat there sizzling. And I just didn't even clock it. Oh man. But yeah, and I had coursework to do during that as well. So it's just man, what is happening? And then what happened then? There was something, yeah. And then this is the last one. It's still deep, but then another day I'm okay, after that recovers. So just after Halloween, I think. I'm okay, let's go. Let's productive mindset, Madaffle mode, it's Madaffle and all sorts.
Mad.
Got coffee. Yeah, got coffee. Went to the co-op, got my meal deal. Yeah, lunch ready. I was yeah, in the library at 8. I'm not leaving till 8. Say no more. And then I tried to cross the road to the I stack and I tore a tear ligament in my ankle. Another 2 weeks in bed.
Wow.
It's mad, fam. It's so deep. But then, yeah, so during that, but for some reason, something kept me going. I think it was probably because I went through the second year and something was working. So I still worked in bed, did a coursework from bed. And when I came back after that Christmas for Jan exams, something had just clicked, and me and, some of the econ boys, we would literally just became a well-oiled, machine. Every morning would wake up, go to the library together, have lunch together, have dinner together, go home 2 a.m. There was a point. It was literally in the library at 9, leave the library at 3, and then every day for a month.
Mad.
And on the off day, you'd pass out a bit because you can't hack it. But then suddenly, averaged something, whatever it was, it averaged out to 2-1 at the end, January and summer.
Madness.
And so, yeah. So looking back, when you see that you managed to do it through all of that, and you did it, when you come out the other end, honestly, you feel like you can do anything. Because I was watching a video on the tax qualification, because that's something I'm gonna have to do for work, hopefully. And it was a video similar to your videos, and she was just talking about her experience. And she was yeah, man, if you're doing this, you're gonna fail. It's hard, like you're gonna fail, but you need to know how to be able to pick yourself up and keep going and keep going. And I literally watched that video and laughed. I laughed, man, because I was like, I've done it. I've already done that. I can do this. I can do this, man. And I think that honestly, like, that's the best thing uni can teach you. Like, you can't teach work ethic. Yeah, the perseverance, the durability, the work ethic. Like, you can't teach that. You have to go through it, or you have to put yourself through it to learn it. Not that I wish that any of those things had happened, but in a way, I'm glad they did. In a way, not necessarily. Yeah, in a way. Yeah, I'll put it that way. But yeah, fully, man. I don't know.
Yeah, they all amount to important lessons. For me,
Yeah.
I went through, I wouldn't say the same stuff, but very similar. Like, you know, you're talking about how you're like a 6 and you're compared to like 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s.
Oh yeah.
To me, that's like, you know, are you familiar with imposter syndrome?
No.
All
I
right.
feel go for it.
I'll explain it as briefly as I can, but imposter syndrome is basically like the belief that you're faking it, like you don't belong there, you don't deserve to be where you are. Which is kind of what you were saying.
I can relate. Yeah.
Yeah, I think someone mentioned it to me. I'm like, nah, what is that nonsense? That doesn't sound real. And I did like a survey of like a 1 to 10, and I got to the bottom. I was like, if you scored 50 or above,
Oh.
like you have, I'm like, what? I got a perfect 100.
Oh. Oh man.
But nah, like I was like, damn, something's wrong with me. But then I looked into it, and a lot of that in uni, I think, stems from the fact that so many people, like in school, you're in the same bubble for 7 odd years. This is the
Yeah.
first time where you've had people from from London here, from like Manchester, from China, like all over the world, all the best of the best. And it's like, flip, man. Like how is this?
Yeah, it's worldwide. Yeah, I always forget that it's fully like you're competing against the world. Like, but that's what you always got to remember. Like, because when you're feeling like, obviously it's easy to say this now, but I'll try telling this to me like 2 years ago. But what you got to do is if you got to remember, like, how did you get to uni? Like, know what, when you were studying and applying for UCAS and doing your A levels, like nobody, obviously your friends and family always support you, but nobody opened your head, put the information in your head, and sat the exam for you. You did that.
Yeah.
That means that you deserve to be there, and that's what we always forget when, like, you know, we compare ourselves to all these smart dons that just kind of do their dissertation in like a couple of days, like I'm absolutely, yeah. But yeah, you did that. Like, you deserve to be there. You wouldn't be there if you couldn't hack it. Yeah, man, that's the thing. Like, it comes to a point where it's make or break, and you know, it could happen at uni, it could happen after uni, it could happen at work. You know, maybe you don't get a degree in the end of it, but then that's the point where you have to pick yourself up. You know, it will happen to someone at some point. I'd be very surprised if you got to like 70 and, you know, didn't have a challenge ever. So, you know, it's good. It's good that it's happened, you know.
That's true.
Transfer that. Like, and you never know what can help you. Like, so, as you know, like I put some music out recently. So where it came from is, so you know that second year I was talking about, where like it was just deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it came to a point where I couldn't revise in the library, because as a human, you have to process your thoughts in it. And obviously when your friends are revising, you don't want to bother them too much. You have to process your emotions. So what I did is, when I was revising and I just couldn't revise no more, I just quickly like get a pen and paper out, you know, write a song, because that's just something I do. Just talking about how I felt. And once I got out the system, I'd go back to revising. Yeah. And then, so eventually I put that out on, you know, Spotify, maybe hear like a couple songs here and there. And then in my AC for the job that I got, one of the questions the interviewer asked me was like, when's the last time you learned something new? And I genuinely, it's a fairly like general question. And I probably should have prepared for it, but I just hadn't thought about it. And I was slumped, man. I was like, man, I genuinely asked him, I was like, could I have a second? And I just thought about it. And I went back and was like, oh, okay. I learned to, you know, record some music, you know, just with an acoustic guitar and like just a mic. And then we talked about that for a bit. And then he was like, okay, how far did you take this? Like when you learned something new? I was like, yeah, actually I put a few songs out on Spotify, and then I didn't know the answer to the question. And then, I went from not knowing the answer to the question to suddenly looking really ambitious and motivated. And that came from something I did randomly just 2 years ago, trying to cope during exams. So you honestly never know what can come through for you. Actually never know.
That's a very good point.
That's like, yeah. And that was like, man, that got me gassed when I thought about it. Cause I was like, wow, like 2 years ago, I was struggling like to, get through the exams. And that's something that ended up being a contributing factor to, passing an interview. But
Yeah.
How does that even work out?
That's nuts.
Music and tax. What do you mean? Yeah.
I had a similar thing years ago. I think I mentioned it in one of my podcasts, but I used to be a referee when I was growing up.
Oh, what, sorry?
Referee, like football referee.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And before like I had uni and like good stuff to put on my CV, I was like, yeah, I refereed a few games. I went to an interview, I must have been like Next or Debenhams. And then the guy's like, oh, so I see you're a referee. I'm like, yeah, I referee some games every now and then. It ended up being a full like 30-minute conversation about who's better, Arsenal or Spurs.
Really? Yeah, that's what you want from an interview. You want to like, by the way, his answer is Spurs, isn't it? Just
yeah, I didn't get the job because I'm a Red. But
yeah. Oh, was he Spurs fan then?
Yeah.
Damn.
You got to drop loyalties, man.
Yeah. Trust me. Gotta lie, man. Gotta lie. But yeah, that's the best way for an interview to go. Like if it just becomes like a conversation, that's like, because at the end of the day, once you get there, they're like, because especially for like assess like graduate jobs, you go through like online situational judgment test, numerical reasoning test, video interview. By the time you get to the AC, you've passed a threshold of some sort. Like thousands of people have already been filtered out by that point. And once you're there, they just want to see if they'd like to work with you. Like if you're a nice person, you're someone they'd like to work with, you're just someone they'd like. So when you start getting into like somehow getting into a conversation with them just about next stuff, they genuinely just want to see if you're a good guy or girl. And yeah, I think that's why it works out in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you see an interview going like that, it's a good sign.
Very true, man.
Yeah.
I clocked it must have been, I think at EY, and I had a spring week 2 years ago. And I was sitting there and someone said, oh, I'm from Cambridge, I'm from Oxford, I'm LSE. I'm like, damn it, man, these guys are way smarter than me. But then within minutes, I'm like, wait a minute, these guys are at the best of the best unis and they're sitting here next to me. Like, how hard have I had to work?
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Also, like, when you see all these smart people around you, it's not even something that should put yourself down. In fact, that's a compliment to you because you're in the same room as them. You're categorized with them now. So yeah, that's gassed. That's actually gassed.
It's nuts, man.
Yeah. Well then, Go on. Oh, I was just gonna say again, like, I didn't have many. If you have the opportunity, please do. But I unfortunately didn't have many like strong internships or strong, internships or just placements. Don't have many links. Didn't get many of the applications that I tried for. But you can use if you get the degree or the minimum qualifications, there are things in your life that you've probably done that can help you and you don't know. Like I used, I've been like a bartender / a waiter, and my job I got like tax advising. You have to speak to clients and get to know clients and kind of, serve them essentially. And then if I mentioned, customer service skills and just knowing how to be a people person and talk, the social skills you get from doing those jobs, they genuinely help you a lot in interviews, especially so you never know what could help you. You with the referee thing, me with the music. You genuinely just, it's easy to be like, oh man, this guy's CV is so beefed up. He's had an internship at JP Morgan. What do I have? I'm sure you have something in it. Like, so you'd be surprised what you could change and turn into like a competency or like, a strength or a leadership, somewhere you learn teamwork. It's very easy to do. Just gotta know how to pick and manipulate it.
That's very true. It's more or less like experience is experience, but it's more about your impact. I think.
Yeah,
I got I think new look on my CV, And
Oh
most
yeah.
people say like, oh, I stacked shelves or I did this, did that. I was like, I served 300 customers an hour.
Yeah, yeah,
Top
100%. That's the
ratings.
way to do it. Yeah,
Just gas it up, man. Fire it up.
100%. Because when you break it, when you just if you just describe it to like your friend, you'll be like, oh yeah, I just stack shelves and change clothes. But when you're talking to an employer, you have to actually deep it and deep what you do. Like because you're juggling multiple tasks. You're probably like talking to customers. You have multiple tasks and you're juggling them at the same time, and that's what they want to hear. And you just have to apply that to your job at New Look, or my job in a bar, and then just show that you're good at communicating with customers, communicating with team members, juggling multiple tasks at once, prioritizing between tasks. Like you do that at any job. It's just the wording and just knowing how to interpret that from your job and then apply it to your next job, to your career. But yeah, definitely New Look. Where else have you worked? You have many more?
Boy, man. I got a long CV. I've done refereeing, New Look. I was at Domino's for a bit. I was
Yeah.
at Harrow School for a bit as a groundsman.
Oh yeah.
Like
Damn.
loads.
Yeah.
Because I've always been like, look, I need money, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I could put selling sweets on school on my CV, I'd even do that. Like,
Yeah.
I've been getting bread since 12 years old. And I'm
Yeah.
still
Same.
poor.
Yeah. We about that. I was definitely that guy on the playground selling Lucasades and Kit Kat chunkies as well. Fam, the grind side young, man. Grind side young.
Very young, very
Yeah.
young. And
Yeah. Definitely.
it's the skills you learn as well. Like it must have been 3 months ago. I was thinking back about like entrepreneurial skills I have, like of course to do with like the podcast as well. And I'm like, I've been selling for a long time. I can talk about like customer relationships and data analysis, like lowering prices to beat the market. Like there's actually a lot that goes into
Definitely. Yeah.
even buying and reselling Lucasade in school. Like that.
Yeah.
That's some
100%.
complex stuff.
Yeah. Especially like you're doing profit loss from day one when you're doing that. Like, I'm sure there's not as many factors to it as it would be, when you're like in a job at 25, but you're still doing it. Like, the basic concepts are still the same. Supply, demand, profit, loss. Like, you're learning that at a young age.
It's
But yeah,
crazy. Man.
teachers always got pissed when you did that.
I'm happy I
I
never
remember.
got caught.
Yeah.
One of my boys tried to copy and he started selling sweets in school as well.
Yeah.
But I was always a slick guy. I had like a side bag, the one strap Adidas bags.
Yeah.
I had like my books in the back and the front pouch was like all these Kit Kats and cans and
Yeah.
stuff. I was very
Oh,
slick. This guy
yeah.
comes in with a school bag and a duffel bag.
Oh, he had the whole shop. He carried the whole shop with.
It's mad. And then within like 2 hours, the head of year's like, I'm not gonna say his name. That guy, come over here. Let me see what's in your bag. And it's
Yeah.
just like a whole shop.
That's so funny. Yeah. I remember my friend, like, he started, he started doing that and he went round, like, front playground, back playground, canteen. Like, he was doing the laps, being like, do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy that? Do you want to buy that? And like getting his name out there. And then by the end of the, academic year, he literally just sat in his part of the playground and people went to him and he literally just didn't have to move a muscle. People just went to him and be like, oh yeah, what you got today? Like, he just became like his own brand. So by the end of it, bought a PS3 and everything.
That's cold.
Yeah. Buying your own PS3 in like year 8, that's mad.
Yeah, I did that with the PS4 with my brother as well. We both went house. That was like, on that day I won life.
Yeah. Exactly. Big steps, man.
Mad.
Big moves.
I remember as well because I bought the PS4 bundle with like GTA and all these other games. And then the guy at Game is like, I can't sell it to you because you're not 18. So I was like, Mum, like, come here quick. I just gave Mum 400. I was like, Mum, like, buy this for me, yeah?
What, cash?
Keep the change, yeah. Just 400 cash in my hand.
I'm surprised your mum didn't ask you any questions about that one. 4 bills in cash,
That's the first time I ever said keep the change. And
yeah, that's the flex. That's a big flex.
It's the coldest flex. It was like 2p, but
it's still a flex, man. I think I'm still yet to do that. Like on a when it's not coppers, I'm yet to do that. Hopefully it comes coming soon.
Oh, I pray, man.
To keep the change flex.
And the way I am now, I'm cool. When I eat out, I was like, yo, can you cut off the service charge? You don't get nothing.
Same. We're still, yeah. Hopefully one day we could do like card roulette and like, just like I'll get the bill. You know them ones.
That's the one, man.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
How far,
definitely.
like, because obviously for you, you've mentioned as well, music is more of like a hobby where you just did for
Mhm.
exams, but how far do you plan to take it? Is it going to be like, are you the next Ed Sheeran? I can hear that
Uh,
influence.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that good influence. Definitely a big influence. But I think it will always be career first, like as in, the career path I'm on now, simply because it's just the safe. I would never put all my eggs in one basket when that basket is, probably not very likely to
Mm.
be a thing. um, it will always be. I think it will always be on the side. Like it will be like a hobby. I'll still, because the way I saw it is like if I had so many songs written, like there's no what's the point of having all these songs written and they're just in my drawer,
Yeah.
like we're just and I'm the only one that's heard it, just may as well put it out there. Um, I feel like there's not going to harm anyone. Uh, but I don't know. It's nice. Like I've had some nice feedback so far. I think I need to hear from feedback from some strangers because I feel like I still always think your friend's always going to give you a good
Yeah.
a
They're gonna match you.
slightly more positive review than anyone else. But yeah, no, it's all right. I think it'll always be a side thing, but you never know. It could become the main thing. You never know.
It'll be good to see.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, for now it's just like an escape, I suppose. Like like same as PS4. Like it's just like when I want to chill, I'll do that. Like one of them ones.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I was listening to parts of your album as well, 401, and I
Oh
was
yeah.
like, this does not sound like Samir.
Is it? Yeah.
I was playing, I think it was Rain Down on Me,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm like, who is this?
Oh, cheers. Appreciate that you heard it, man. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's a good album, man.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Emotional stuff, but is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, trust. I was listening. I first heard 401 the song when you put it out, what, like 2 years ago, maybe last year,
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it was sometime 2019. Yeah.
and I was like, what the hell? Like, I can tell it was a breakup song.
This guy's going through something right now. Yeah. No. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good though. At least you got the message. But yeah, what's your like feedback? What do you think? Because I just haven't really asked around. I just kind of put it out there and just dipped from social media because it's just never really done that on a big scale. I've never really put music out there. So
I know what
what
you
do you
mean.
think? Yeah, it's a bit scary.
I mean, I see myself as a music guy. Like, I'm always going through albums.
Mm,
On my first listen, it was good. I skipped a few,
that's fine.
but I thought it was good.
I
My
appreciate that.
only, like, if I got to give a proper critique as like a music
Okay.
fan, I would say there's no clear narrative.
Okay.
Like, you can tell it's sad, but it's kind of like one song's a breakup song, one's like you're going through some shit, and it's a bit, it's here and there.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, that's like my music connoisseur ear. I thought
Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah. No, noted, man. Noted. I appreciate that. Thank you. Noted. But yeah,
And
we
it's
shall
funny, like
see.
one of my other friends, I interviewed him last week for the podcast as well. I think his episode's going to come out after the day after yours or the Thursday after yours.
Cool.
He's also a music guy,
Okay.
so it's mad to hear like two guys back to back
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
talking
And
about the
I
influence.
always think it's quite interesting to see like the kind of music someone puts out there and then compare it to the kind of music they listen to. Because like I listen to like obviously I listen to like the Ed Sheeran and the Ben Howard and stuff like that, and that's the type of music I go for. But then at the same time, like I listen to like hip hop and like all sorts of like rap and just even chart stuff as well. Like so, I just like seeing. I'll be excited to listen to the next podcast and just hear what he's into and then what he's putting out. I think it's always just a nice contrast.
Yeah, that'd be cool,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. See the influences.
I think for
Yeah.
him it's more. I think he's similar, like Ed Sheeran, Adele, all that stuff. I don't understand that. I'm very hip hop, so it's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, no, it's just like it's. I think that stuff is easier to write about because I don't know how to write about bitches and money and like getting lit because I don't have bread, man. But like, but man, like I love that. Like I listen to that stuff all the time, man. Like Kendrick, Drake, like all that's the bait stuff. Travis Scott, bait.
Mm.
Brockhampton, all that stuff, man. What's your music influences like? Music connoisseur.
In terms of, I mean, I I
They
say
come
grew
from?
up on like storytelling.
Okay.
So I love guys like Eminem, Nas, all these guys that actually tell you
Eminem,
something
yeah,
in their songs. Kendrick, J.
yeah,
Cole.
Yeah.
So in terms of what I'm like, that's why I prefer albums to singles, because I want to see the narrative, like transitions,
Yeah.
the artistic choices, and see what you're trying to say, as opposed to like, oh, the bitches and lean, yay. Like,
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
still rate
obviously, when you got
there
to turn up,
always,
you got to turn up, but
exactly. There always should be a song that's just there for fun, like just to have a good time. I feel like I do appreciate those songs as well.
mm,
Yeah. But there's always room, but you just gotta see that. You gotta judge that on a different basis, I think. Cause like, when a song's just about, just having fun and like, like controller and stuff in one dance, like you just gotta judge that differently to how you would judge, Mockingbird or Lose Yourself or something like that.
yeah, trust me.
Yeah. Two different elements. But yeah, man.
Like, I can't wait to hear what's it called on your album? The second last one.
Home.
That's the
Is it
one.
Home? Oh
I think
yeah?
it's either Home or like We Made You Better or something. I can't remember, but
Oh, we were better whole, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm waiting to hear, because I feel whenever I hear a song called like Home or like based on a person, those are the ones that artistically for me are the coldest. That's the one I'm waiting to hear.
Oh, right, that. No, yeah. Yeah, I think 401 and maybe We Were Better Whole are like the most well written, like in terms of like what it's about and who it's about and what it's trying to say about, relationships and stuff. I think those are the most well written. But then there's stuff like, one song called Paris, which is just about like just a nice time, just a upbeat, happy song in it. Like my one dance equivalent, I suppose. No, don't want to say that, but yeah,
Mad man.
yeah.
Have you always been like into creative stuff, like outside of music? Were you
Outside of
like
music,
film? Yeah.
not really actually. Like I mean, I've always watched film and like watched. I did like to draw at one point, but music was always the one because like so my brother is like 14 years older than me,
Wow.
and yeah. But yes, so when I'm, growing up and he's like already like mature adult, you get a lot of influences from him. So from him, I got wrestling and, Eminem at a young age, like even like rock and like Linkin Park and stuff. And then later on, that's like the influences I started with. But from a young age, I always liked music. He used to play guitar as well. I think I picked up his guitar his guitar was the guitar I picked up for the first time. And yeah, and then eventually, like I started to get, my own taste and my own influences on top of that, like more modern hip hop and stuff, which he doesn't listen to, but I'll show him every now and then. But yeah, I
That's
think music was
nuts.
the only really creative output I had. But yeah, what about you? Did you have anything else?
Um, I mean, storytelling as a whole was a big thing. Like,
Yeah,
of course, film. I don't really care for art as much, but film and music are my big ones.
yeah,
But no, I just find it interesting how guys are like, because I guess for you and similar for me, it's a passion, right? You're more passionate about one thing, and then you have your career separate, but
yeah,
you're always working towards both. And I always find it mad that people are like the things people like
yeah,
outside of uni.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's always good to have two. I'll say one is like just a massive goal, and the other one is just like a little side hustle, like potential side hustle. Like the podcast going well, YouTube channel going well. I saw one of your videos with like 7K views. I was like, man, that's a lot, man. That's bears.
Bro.
Yeah, that was how fast did that increase, and like when did you notice like wow, there's fair amount of views on it?
But for me, more time, like I've always wanted to do this podcast, but in a different way. Like
Okay.
from when I started uni, I was like, as soon as I got here, I was like, there's so much I didn't know that I could have found out by talking to any other student instead of talking to my teachers that just try and force you into uni. So my goal was always to go out, I'm not going to talk about too much. I don't want to spoil what's coming later. But
Okay.
yeah, I've always wanted to have this thing. So YouTube for me was my way of like getting better at being on camera, recording myself and all the technical details.
Yeah.
I had no idea where it would go. And then like the video you were referencing, they got 7,000 views. That's like how I felt my first year.
Yeah.
That one was the first time I was like, you know what? Instead of me trying to create something interesting, let me just speak my mind, be myself. I recorded it, it must be like March. I put it in the bank. I'm like, this is crap. No one wants to hear this. Put it out 4 months later and bang, like 6K views within a few months. I'm like, this is madness. Like, People actually
Yeah,
care about real feelings, not, not
it's
all the other stuff.
yeah, for sure. And I feel like it's definitely, like, for example, like failing at uni or like the podcast, Undergraduate Survival Guide, like it's definitely something people want to listen to because we went to uni. So I remember going to uni, I was like, what is going to happen? Like, I don't know how I'm going to find my group. I don't know how I'm going to live on my own. I don't know how I'm going to cope with the work. On top of that, eat for myself, feed for my, like sleep, organize my life on my own. Um, but yeah, so the fact that you've got people talking about their experiences and, hopefully when people listen, they'll have a bit more of like, they'll be going in with a bit more of an idea compared to how they would have been without listening to it,
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very informative. Yeah, for
That's
sure, man.
right, man.
That's why a video like that gets 6,000 views because it's a real problem that can happen and a lot of people can relate to it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, it's mad how I got so many DMs. Like, look, I'm going through a similar thing, like mental health this,
Yeah.
parent pressure that, like, how can you help? I was like, boy, like I can help with the things that I've gone through, but I know so many guys like you, as yourself included, who have gone through stuff and come out the other side stronger. And
Yeah.
it's like, how do you connect, the people who need the answers to the people with them? That's always been my thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, nothing at uni, like you said, you knew someone who'd been through it, even though you hadn't been through it yourself. At uni, you just meet so many people. Like you'll always have a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, like who did the thing you're looking for, or your network does grow.
Mm,
And I think that's something that's very like valuable and will come very handy later on in life. You know.
for sure, man.
Mm.
I mean, I don't even know if you can answer this. This is something that just came into my mind now.
Oh, okay.
I was having a debate with someone. What's day today? Tuesday. So Friday, a few days ago. And I was saying, like, it's easy to message like your friends or like random girls, oh, let's link up. But it's always been a challenge for me individually to message a guy that I haven't seen in months and be like, oh yeah, let's hang out. And we were talking about specifically for the lockdown how it's hard to see people now.
Yeah.
Have you got any experience where it's like some guy you haven't spoken to in a month, you just be like, oh yo, let's get coffee sometime or let's go play football sometime?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. So, and that's what social media is quite mad these days because when you're posting and you have people, on your Facebook, well, yeah, on your Facebook, on your Instagram that you haven't seen in years, but they're still there and they're seeing, they're seeing you, grow and just seeing what you're up to. And yeah, I've definitely had a few messages here and there. I think the other party was the one that started it, but he just messaged me and was like, yo, it'd be really cool to, hang out, catch up sometime. And I was like, yeah, I met him. And it was jokes, man. He was a really nice guy. And I think that's also just a good social skill to have, to just be able to meet someone, that you barely know or like used to know very well and be able to just come back and just kind of build from the start again. And since he has asked me to link him, I'm not afraid to just be like, hey, yo, it's been a long time. Like, let's do something. Let's chill because, you know, everyone, we're just people at the end of the day. Like, it's calm, really. It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, what about you? Are you still like, do you feel like nervous or do you feel?
No, I mean, for me, it's kind of easy in the boat I'm in, because also I can be like, oh, I've been working on this video. What do you think about X? Or,
Oh
come
yeah.
on my podcast, talk about Y. But before that, it's very much been like, I haven't seen this guy in 2 months. I
Yeah.
have no idea. It's only because you mentioned like how, when you're going through mental health issues, like you spoke to people about it. And I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of people kind of struggle to really make that initial, jump, I guess, and talk about their issues because you never really know how to do it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I've always, up until up until uni, I guess, been like, how do you start these sorts of conversations? Because there's a invisible barrier there between, when someone asks how you're doing, no matter how you are actually doing, you all say, yeah, I'm good. What about you? And that whole facade.
I think it's pretty, I think you just got to not be afraid to kind of break the barrier. Just kind of, do you mean like so if you're asking someone who has, if someone you think is struggling, I think it's important to just tell them you're there if you need it, because sometimes if they don't want, they might not want to open up to you. But the fact that they hear, like from personal experience, the fact that you hear someone say that if you do need me, I am here, that goes a long way. You might not see the results of that straight away because they might not tell you, they might not speak to you even ever. But the fact that you've said that to them is definitely supportive and definitely something that's very encouraging for someone to hear. I remember once, like after that first term in third year when I had the neck thing and the leg thing, I went home, had a sick birthday over that Christmas, and I posted it. I was like, okay, mental health's been a bit mad right now. Thank you everyone that kind of helped me. Hopefully we're going to smash these exams kind of thing. And then someone I haven't spoke to since secondary school messaged me. It's like, yo, I think it's really cool you're talking about that so openly. Here if you need. And I was like, you know what? Thank you, man. That's good to hear. And I don't think I've spoken to her much since then, but it's the fact that she said that is gassed. And so anytime I see someone else, maybe post something that's a bit, they're struggling with the isolation and stuff, just it's just, you could say, how are you? And if they're blunt, but you'll just say yeah, if you do need, notice you're a bit off, if you do need, I'm here in it. I'm here to talk. And it goes a long way, man. It really does. And I think people should be more open because that's often the problem most of the time. Because you don't want to feel like you're a burden on someone else. You don't want to feel like but you're not. You're just not. There's more good people out there than bad, I like to think. And they would always be willing to help another human. So I think just the more people that are open about it, better it is for everyone.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think you're right about that. Because I feel like people do generally want to speak. Like, people do want to talk about themselves or what they're going through. But it's almost like every time someone else says they don't want to talk, you kind of have to back that up, and everyone's reinforcing themselves in some way. But it just takes one person to be like, oh, how are you actually doing? And then suddenly everyone's talking about all their life, even if it's dumb, like oh, I'm a Spurs fan. It's
100%.
It opens the barrier.
Yeah, exactly. Just be like, nah, but really, you're all right. I think you can be. You don't have to be blunt about it yourself. You can just be straight up. But as long as you kind of word it correctly, I'm sure there won't be any issues. So the fact that you asked is always the most important. Yeah, and it goes both ways. If you see someone, feel free to ask them. As much as you'd like to be asked, it goes both ways. And hopefully one day it's just a network where everyone is just so open about everything. We're all right.
Yeah, just look forward to, man.
Yeah, man.
Do you feel like then you're maybe not lucky, but I guess how much you appreciate your circle having gone through that sort of stuff, that you have people there that will constantly check up on you or see how you're doing, or that are always there for you?
Oh man, I couldn't thank them enough. Oh man, how much do I appreciate them? There's not an upper limit for that, because as much as I was saying I'm the one that sat the exam, I'm the one that put in the work and got the grade. As much as that is true, the reason it all came to fruition is because of the people that kind of, just gave me a little push, keep going, just a bit more, just a bit more. You can do this, Samir. Just keep going. And you can never be thankful enough. Even my parents call me a lot. I text my mom every day. She's always because her English isn't very good, but her texting is so funny. Just a text from her would just make my day. But just stuff like that, man. It's just, and your friends, coming home after a bad day, to having your flatmates there, or just having someone you can call. It can never be thankful enough. And it just goes to show, for anyone who thinks they need to ask someone, for anyone who wants to ask someone, sorry, you're not a burden on anyone. Your friends will want to help you, and you're gonna be so gassed to have them after you get through it, because you're all in it together at the end. No one wants anyone to get left behind. We want to make it together, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very true, man.
For sure.
I clocked when you were saying that as well, because I had an interesting chat a little while back with one of my friends, and we were talking about, I don't know if you're familiar with the love languages.
Okay. What's that?
It's one of those zodiac stupidness things, but it's
okay.
The idea is that people have a different capacities of forming relationships, be it physical contact or quality of time or giving gifts or saying nice things. And we were talking about how the friend making process in uni, well, that's kind of the first real time you have to make friends. because when you're growing up, you're usually friends with whoever your parents are parents friends with. Like,
Yeah,
your
or
mum
just
would
who
just be
you
like, "Oh,
happen
hang
to
out
be in
with."
class with. Yeah.
Yeah. And then a lot of those friends in primary kind of follow through into secondary school. We were talking about how once you start uni, that's the first time like you're in a fresh environment. And
Yeah.
his argument was that your friendship group is purely luck at uni because it's based on your accommodation. Like, because I know that you've been with a few people since first year, like the whole 3 years of uni.
Yeah.
How would you um attribute your, that process to like actually making those friends, be it like societies or halls or just like
So
schools?
I do think I was very, 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 very lucky in the sense that, however, my accommodation, whoever organised my accommodation, they put me with people that, like, just literally that's like best friends for life, just straight off the bat.
Yeah.
And I think I'm very lucky for that. And then it even got to a point where I was such good friends with them. I was like, you know what, I can't be asked to go to these societies, man. This is long. I can't be asked. Like these men are perfect. Like I don't need to go to a society. But that's not the case for everyone. And I do think you should bang out the societies, because another thing I should have done it on top of it. Just, you can never have too many friends, I don't think, or like you can never meet too many people, rather.
Okay.
So you definitely should. I think, especially like after second year, for example, I was like, okay, let me just go, like, meet some new people. Like, I'm just not feeling great. Went and joined like Bangla Society, went to an Asian Society thing, just went to different places, met more people through econ, and it's just a healthy thing to do. Just go and meet as many people as you can, because you're never going to be surrounded by that many people from that many different places. It's just mad. Like, definitely go for it. But in my case, I was very lucky. Not everyone's that lucky. So I think either way do it. Yeah, definitely. I didn't. I think that's probably one of my few regrets, is that not doing more societies earlier on. I probably should have. But yeah, because it's just, even if you don't meet nice people, like meet people you're going to be friends with for life, it's just fun. Like, I went to like a Muay Thai thing in second year a few times, and
Okay.
not only did I meet a few people, I think I became close with Naveed there.
Mad.
And that's obviously that's where I met you, through him, and that's just how that's how the branch works, isn't it? It's just through society, through friend of a friend, and it just expands
Mm.
from there. So I definitely would never recommend against it. Definitely do it,
Yeah.
regardless of how good your existing friendship groups are. But yeah, how
Mm.
many did you go to, any societies or?
Um, like I'm part of a few, be it like
Yeah.
ACS or stuff like that, but I don't really go to many events, which I guess is a big hindrance on my uni experience so far. But yeah, I
Hmm.
completely agree, because even like whether you have, quote unquote the best friends in the world or not, there's no harm in meeting new people. And even from
Yeah.
like a self benefit, perspective, you can meet someone who knows exactly what the next step should be for your career, or like give you the perfect tip for your CV. Like you can never lose by going and trying more things, I feel like.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, actually, I've got an example of what you just said as well. Like, because I met someone through econ, and then we got close, after going to like a Muay Thai event, and then I met two or three people from him, and those two or three people are the people that I went through the application process with, and now we all have jobs. So you never know. You genuinely never know. Just meet as many people as you can, and it'll be all right
Mm.
eventually.
Yeah, true, man. That's mad, though. Do you feel like, do you regret not doing more applications earlier in uni?
Um, I kind of wish I had tried some more internship applications in second year,
Yeah.
because I think it would have made this application process a lot easier. I would just that, but obviously, like I said earlier, you don't have it. I think it would have made it a bit easier.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I didn't. Another reason why I didn't apply during uni for like a job is because they would start in September, so I'd have that summer and then have to start. Whereas I wanted the gap year, so I wanted to apply during the gap year so I could start at the end of the gap year, if that makes
Makes
sense.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, luckily it worked out, because what would have happened is I would have been on holiday and then come back and start after like a month of summer. Hopefully that's still the case, minus the holiday. But yeah, it's just dependent on what you want to do, really. If you want to have a gap year after, if you want to go straight into work, it is, it's just up to you. If you want to have it after work, then after the third year, then apply in third year. If you want to have it after a gap year, then apply in the gap year, I suppose. But I think we need to talk about the application process as well, because that is, man, I think one thing I found so hard about it is that you spend, like, so I got my offer in March and I started in September, and it was 6 months to the day. I remember it was like September 3rd to March 3rd. And it's so hard because I've never worked for such a long period of time without progressing, or without feeling like I had progressed at all. Because for 6 months or 5 months, I just had rejection. And it's just like, normally when you work for 2 months, you'll have some sort of exam results to show by the end of it. So I think it's really draining. Like, it's just a draining, and it's, again, like, demoralizing, because for 5 months I had applied and just got rejection after rejection, and I didn't have an assessment center until the end of February. So I think, again, it's just like, that's another thing. You have to take your perseverance that you learn at uni, and this is the last hurdle. This is the last hurdle till you get a job. That is when your perseverance gets put to the test the most, I think, because some people are lucky and they get, the second application comes through, but some people, it's the last two. Like, I had 2 ACs and they were my last 2 shots this year, and one of them came through. So it was like, for some people it can drag out, for some people it won't, but your perseverance has to take, like, all those punches to the face, like, nah, rejected, bang, rejected, bang, rejected. But you have to keep applying and keep going, man. Because, yeah, just don't be demoralized if, like, you do get rejection after rejection, because it's happening to everyone. It is brutal out there, because there's you're competing with thousands, but eventually something will come through. Whether it be this application season, the next one, it will come through, and a lot of people are worried about age. I don't think you should worry about age too much, because think about it this way. Like, I had a 3-year course and applied during a gap year. So meaning I was 22 when I went to the ACs. Already someone on a master's and had a gap year would be like 23 or 25. Like, someone on a master's would be the same age as you. Someone who had a master's and a gap year would be older than you. Someone who did a PhD could apply for the same job and be much older than you. So, like, don't worry about age. Don't worry about time. Like, you can get rejected a lot, but it will come when it comes, as long as you keep working for it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think application process for me, I'm lucky because, well, I said lucky, but because I feel I've seen people go through it. So I've benefited from my network in terms of, I can ask people, what's a good thing to put on my CV, or how should I tackle this SJT or whatever.
Yeah.
It is mad though. Like, that wait. And I don't understand why they do September applications, but they don't really do ACs until, December, January, February. Like, if they're opening apps in September, they might as well do ACs straight away in October, November. But yeah, I know what you mean, because it takes so long for those fruits to blossom, and it's like, geez, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it does take. I wish it was sooner, because you just sit there for ages, like, wait, because you can do all of these tests. Like, I would have my mornings. So in summer I had this bar job, and normally, like, I started at 4 or 5, finished at 1. In summer, in the mornings, I'd, like, record a song or try to write a song and then go to work. Once the app started, the morning was spent on doing apps and tests and preparing for video interviews, CV writing, all that stuff. And then I'd go to work. I forgot where I was going with this.
About how long applications are.
Yeah. So it's just, yeah. So, and then after, say there's a point where you've just done so many tests, but each test you do, there's 4 stages. Between each stage, you'll probably wait like 3. Okay, maybe not. The online test, you'll get a result pretty quickly. But between, like, online tests and video interviews, there'll be like a 3-week wait. And then in those 3 weeks, you're applying for other places. Between the video interview and, like, an assessment center, there's like a 2-month wait. And it's just so, and in that time, you're applying for other places. And it just doesn't stop. And it's so hard to keep track of where you are on which application, because, you know, which ones got rejected, which ones are still on, which one is at the video interview. And I think what I didn't do is I wasn't organized enough. I think maybe you should make an Excel before you start, or like just note it down even, just so you can keep track of where each application is, because it's a lot. It's 20 plus, 30 plus, it's a lot. And especially when they're all going at different paces and they all have different number of stages, it's easy to lose track of and just get confusing. You might even think there definitely a few apps where I just lost simply because I forgot that I had to do like a video interview by this date. So yeah, and it's peak, and it happens to everyone, I think. So yeah, just got to be organized, man. Definitely. It's a lot to have on at one time. For sure.
I think Brian, like, I'm going to put his episode out soon. I'll send you the link when it's out anyway, for sure. But
definitely,
I wish I asked him more, because he applied to about 60 different firms, and it was crazy because for him, he's lucky enough that his CV and his application skills are like on point. But what that meant was that come January, February, he had like 10 ACs in one go in a week. And it's like, that level of organization is next level, especially because for you it's easier because you're living at home now, but going from Bristol to London on Monday and then back on Tuesday, then Wednesday
that's crazy. Yeah.
So hard.
Yeah, that's crazy. But again, like, that's another thing. Yeah, your strength is one thing you get from uni, but that ability to organize. Obviously, I wasn't very organized. I just didn't think to do it for my application process. But had I done it at the beginning, I would have known how to. And that skill I got at uni. So yeah, listening to that about Brian, that's nuts. I think I had two in that whole period. I had two, and I had three basically, and they were all Friday, Tuesday. I think they were, I had 3 in a 7-day space, and I was working 50-hour weeks during it. So,
wow,
to organize that and juggle that was mad. So to hear that he had 10, I don't know if you, man.
It's crazy, man.
But again, he came out with something, right? That's the best thing.
Yeah.
When it comes through.
Do you feel like you knew enough, like, going into the process about how it would go? Because I didn't know anything about the application process until way too late.
No. Again, I was very lucky to have, networked and have, close friends from uni that were also in the same boat as me. And I'll be honest, because I was working a lot, I think they had clocked the application process a lot earlier than I did, but they had, kind of helped me kind of prepare because they had clocked it so quickly. Well, not quickly, but, after hours and hours, but earlier than I did. It is what you find out. It is very methodical. Like, they all look for similar things. And like, when you have competencies, like, a place where you demonstrate leadership, or a place where you demonstrated your ability to work in a team, all these things can be prepared. And then, I don't know, it's just all very systematic almost. So for each firm, for every interview, you'll have to prepare like, you have to do your research on the firm and know what the firm does. You have to show that you've done your research on the firm, like, maybe charities they've done. Like, a good way to talk about why you chose this firm is to talk about just their work culture, maybe their diversity, the charities they do, the type of work that they do. If you just show, and then that's like about the firm. If they tell you why the role, you have to maybe talk about transferable skills you've learned in your life from, part-time jobs, full-time jobs, uni. And then you have competencies and like strength-based interviews, like, what are your motivations? And there's just loads of questions that you can prepare and pick and choose kind of buzzwords. And as long as you prepare it, once you get that system down, it's basically the same for all of them, because they all look for similar attributes in a person. But I did not know this going into it. It took a lot of trial and error, a lot of tears, a lot of stress, but we got there in the end.
Mad,
but yeah, again, it's something you learn as you go, definitely. Like, you see which answers helped you in a video interview, or which answers helped you in a situational judgment test. Like, for example, in those situational judgment tests, it's always good to open up the company website and get their values page up. and have that. Like, I did not know this. Like, one of my friends found out, and then was like, okay, let me do this, and we see what their values are. Like, if they say, our values are working in a team, when you're doing that situational test, the top answer will normally be the ones where you're demonstrating that skill. Yeah. And that's something I had no idea to do. Like, I'm not going to go into an application process and be like, okay, I've got a test. All right, what are the company's values? I didn't know to do that. That's something you learn. I must just know that. I remember doing a situational judgment test for. You're telling me I didn't get the job because I didn't get up their values page on the side. Come on, man. How was I supposed? How was I supposed to know that? But yeah, it's something you learn. You do have to dig deep into their website sometimes and just learn as much as you can. But yeah, but also the important stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's interesting you say that, because when it comes to like a uni exam, you're going to revise, right? But when it comes to a job exam, well, it's not really an exam, but a test, people don't really do the research. They just like max out their CV, then just go, dive in head first. It's definitely important to put the work in. I mean, I'm similar. I'd never even thought to read the values page. I just put crap in and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But that's funny.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. Yeah, it's just research is important. I think they just want to know that you're passionate, and how do you show that you're passionate? You have to show that you've learned about that firm specifically, Otherwise it just looks like, it's just another job interview. You have to seem passionate and what's the word? Just very interested, enthusiastic is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah,
that's what you gotta look for. That's what you gotta look. But yeah, you have to do that for every firm. So it can be long.
That's the hard bit.
Yeah.
How would you say, like, on that point, how have you managed to deal with failure or like getting rejected all these times?
Oh man, it's hard to go back now, because now it's hard to kind of remember what it was like during the application process now that I'm happy with the outcome. Yeah. It was hard. Like, I didn't find myself stopping. Again, the skill from uni, just never give up attitude. I didn't find myself stopping. However, I did find myself just kind of slacking. Like, I missed a couple deadlines here and there. Like, I remember Capital One deadline came or something, and London Stock Exchange deadline came, and I just missed it. And that was me. Like, I was running out of gas. I think that was just me running out of gas. And I think you have to try, and because if the percentage, if there's like a 5% of apps you apply for are gonna want you, that regardless of if that percentage stays the same, the more apps you apply for, the more people are likely to say yes for you. So you just have to do as many as you can, I think, and as many as your heart and your brain can take. And don't let the rejections get to your heart, because once you get a job, you're the minority when you get the job. You're not the minority when you get rejected. Everyone's getting rejected. Everyone's getting rejected, and you have to remember that. And that's why it's not something you should take as an insult, or like as I'm not good enough. It should be something you take as like, all right, that was 99 out of 100 times that is going to happen. Like, that's the most likely outcome. It's not that you're not good enough. It's that everyone's getting rejected.
Yeah,
I think. But yeah, I think that's the hardest bit, because obviously when you're in it, it's hard to tell yourself that. But sometimes you just got to take a step back from the situation and just look at it from the outside. Everyone's getting rejected. Talk to your friends if they're getting, they'll probably tell you the same. They're probably putting in bear work as well.
True.
That's a very good mindset. Yeah, because I know one person who got Deloitte, but he had an internship with them, and he got offered a job from the internship. But the people I know who went through the application process, minimum 20, 30 apps. Like, that's minimum. You're gonna, like, you can't let it get to you, because that is part of the process. You're not gonna get your first one. You're not gonna get your second one. I'd be well done if you did, but it's unlikely for the majority of us.
Yeah, no, for sure. For me, like, I wouldn't disagree per se, but I'm the type of person where I only want to work for like 3 companies. So even if I get a job at Tesco, I'm not taking it. But
Okay.
what that meant for me is that when I applied for, like the Googles, the Teslas, the places that I'm really interested in, taking
Yes,
that L
yes.
was like the worst thing ever. It's like, this is all I want and I can't even get it. Like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah, I suppose that is different because your focus is directed on one target, I suppose. But
Mm,
then again, like there's also it's never the end of the road. Like if that is the case, then there's always other ways you can get there. It might not be the first stop, it's not the first stop, but you could work your way up other ways, and then you can
mm,
get there. You can work your way up somewhere else and then apply there, and maybe you'll be a bit luckier. But it's again, don't be disheartened by it, because if that's the dream, then the dream lives on. Like you still got to reach it, but it's still alive. It's not dream's not dead just because you didn't get it first time. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
Because just because you haven't got the skills this time, you'll get them eventually.
exactly,
It's interesting
exactly.
because when you see, I was going to say social media, but it's more or less just LinkedIn, where
Oh
people
yeah.
always brag about, oh, I applied for here and I got it, yay. And to me, I find it inspirational at times. Just like, it's nice to see your friends winning, but
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
there's definitely, uh, a conversation to be had, I think, about, this whole hustle culture and working all the time, not taking breaks. Because, yeah, I think it's mad how. 'Cause, to be fair, I do it as well. Sometimes I'm always like work, work, work. I don't want to go out because I want to work, and then
Yeah.
eventually you burn out. And I feel like you've had a similar thing going through uni. Like you just
Yes.
run out of gas, right? You mentioned it as well with apps.
Yes. 100%.
Like how have you managed that in terms of learning when to stop or when to chill?
You just get like I think you have to break it up as much as you can. Like, just set yourself a goal for the day or a goal for the week. Because when you set yourself like, okay, it's September, I need to land a job, okay, and then there's no like time frame on that, and then it's been 6 months, and this is probably what I did wrong, and why it kind of like got a bit demotivating. And
Mm,
it's been 6 months, and I was like, okay, I didn't achieve my goal of getting a job. What am I doing? This is mad. This is long. But what I probably should have done is been like, okay, let me bang do 10 good applications like this in these 2 weeks, like banging applications. And that's how I probably should have broken it up for it to not affect me as much. Um, but yeah, you just gotta like set yourself goals in and time frames to achieve them in, rather than just, like at uni, I was just like, okay, I just gotta get a degree, rather than, okay, um, I've got to revise this much this week. I've got to revise. I've got to know how to do up to tutorial 4 by Friday. You just got to break it up, because then you're not disheartened when you don't achieve it. So you break it up, more achievable goals rather than one big broad goal.
mm.
Yeah.
I've learned that. I used to be the type of guy that I have a to-do list, but I'd always just put down each task. So like one
Yeah.
task might be like have a shower, which is like, okay, 5 minutes done. And then the next task would be like get a job. It's like, oh my God. Like,
You know what I mean? Yeah. That's nuts, man. Yeah. Exactly.
like having to, for me, learning to break tasks up. So it's like send out application, do test, do this. And I think you touched on it a bit as well with time management. Like you probably heard it a billion times, but like smart goals,
Yeah.
those specific, measurable. I always forget what A means. Realistic and time bound.
Hmm.
That's learning that and act like, because I always knew that you hear about a lot in school and it's like green hat thinking and all this nonsense, but when you actually apply it,
It
I think that,
works.
yeah, literally, like people don't just keep saying it because they want to. Like it actually is important to to break things
100%.
up and to measure it.
But then again, yeah, like you said, when you mentioned the hustle culture, like it's good, but everyone needs a break, and you need to be mature about this. You need to be healthy, and that your mental health and your stuff comes first, because there's no hustle if your mental health isn't if your mental health isn't gonna survive through it. You're not gonna be able to hustle by the end of this. You're gonna blow out. You're gonna get gassed, and the wrong type of gassed. It's You need to take your breaks, because think about it like gym. Like, I don't know, like when you're in a set, when you're doing a set, you go as ham as you can. Your fibers rip, I suppose, and then it needs a rest. And then you do the next set, and then you bang it hard again. And you need to rest again. And then that's the most efficient way of doing it. And that's why I wanted to have the gap year, to just kind of rest and have a break. That's why you have to make sure you enjoy your summers after your final exams. You have to try and not think about it. Enjoy your weekends. If you manage to organize your week well enough, you will have time to enjoy your weekends. And those breaks are just as important as the actual work itself, because that's what's going to keep you going for a long period of time.
That's very true.
Mm.
I think in uni it's easy to fall into that trap because like in school you kind of go in and you go home. At work you go in and you go home. But when you're living away from home for uni, it's like you're in Bristol from 2016 till 2019, and that whole time you're technically supposed to be working. Like definitely when you mention having weekends, that's something that I didn't really appreciate until this year even, where it's like, let me just go ham 9 till 5 at uni, and then after that, it's Jordan time. And that's a very real point, man, because once you start to confuse your work-life balance and you just start to work too much or you don't really take that time out, like burning out is the worst because you stay down for so long. It takes so long to come out of that slump of like just banging Warzone all the time.
Yeah, 100% it's true. Yeah. Damn, it's true. But yeah, like, I think that happened with me as well. In second year, I just worked and I didn't speak to anyone. Like the second year that I flopped, basically, the first one. I worked, first of all, I'd like to say work with people, because this one, I worked as hard for both set of exams, except in third year I worked with people and the results were much better in third year. So, 3 brains are always better than 1. When it comes to a point where you know all the content and all you have to do is make sure it sticks in your head for the exam, then you can work on your own. But when you're learning it and going through all the content, work with other people, because when you bounce off of each other, when you might misunderstand something, someone will be there to correct you. You can correct someone else. When you teach it to someone else, you're also reiterating it in your brain. Work with other people, because that is more efficient and it genuinely does help a lot more. And yeah, so what I did at the beginning is that I would just sit in my room, not talk to anyone. I stopped going gym. I wasn't eating correctly or timely. So I just had no sort of structure to my day. I just wake up, brush my teeth, shower, maybe have some cereal and just work in my room, and then go to bed, maybe have dinner, and then go to bed, start again. And then by third year, I was still seeing my housemates. I was still seeing my friends. I was still having lunch with my friends. I was still going to the gym. But when I worked, it was like, I wasn't on Facebook, wasn't on YouTube. When I worked. But because I had enough things, keeping me sane and giving me the right healthy breaks, I didn't need to go on Facebook or YouTube while I worked. I worked hard when I worked, but I had enough breaks during the day, lunch break, dinner break, gym. And it just keeps you going. It's proven, you don't gas out doing that. Definitely.
No, it's important you say that as well, actually, because to be fair, I still do that a lot. Like I start doing work for an hour and then only actually do about 20 minutes work in that time because I've been banging YouTube the whole time.
Yeah, it happens, man. I'm not going to say I haven't done it. It happens for sure. But yeah, go for it.
But learning to separate like work time and personal time and friends time is such an important skill. Something that I'm trying to master, but
yeah, it'll get there. It'll get there.
I feel like it's a lot easier at work or after uni, I should say.
You think it's easier? What, sorry?
Once you're working, because once you finish at 5, it's like I'm done.
Yeah. I hope. Yeah, I think that's what I'm quite. I mean, I think it will be hard because I'll still have like a qualification to do on top of it. But I think hopefully for at least the beginning, it'd be nice to finish at 5 and then not have anything work related to do for a bit. Because I think at uni, what gets hard is that you finish lectures at 5, but you still have revision to do until who knows what hour. And like there doesn't seem to be. That's why you have to organize it so well, because until 5 you're at lectures and you're learning, but then after that you have to revise it or revise. You have homework to do or coursework to do. So that's why the structure is so important. Because you don't necessarily leave uni at uni. It always comes home with you.
Yeah, that's the worst thing for me. But it is mad. I think It's interesting how you meant like to be ages ago. To be fair, talking about how you talk to people on social media and that. I think that's the biggest. I want to say pro and a con because there are times where I go on, like, of course, I mentioned LinkedIn, and you see people are grinding. It's like, okay, let me put some work in, and then you do like 20 minutes work. You start to procrastinate. I check Instagram and say, oh, these guys are on holiday having fun, and then you suddenly fall straight out of that mindset. But like, how have you managed? I guess social media. That's kind of a big question, but
Whew. Um,
because I know you mentioned you kind of stepped back after you put your album out, but do you kind of feel any pressure from that, like to do certain things a certain way?
I do, but I think I don't know. I feel like no one on my social media. I think I don't know. I feel like no one on my social media is posting stuff like that, and I haven't really made my LinkedIn properly yet. But I think I went through LinkedIn like with my friend the other day, and I saw all these people doing bits, and I was like, damn, like it was proper motivated. But then
Mm.
I don't know. I feel like I've just my lens has kind of changed. Like when I see someone, on holiday, rather than like kind of falling out the mindset, my mind just kind of goes, okay, I want to do that, but how can I do that? Okay, I need to grind. That's how my mind kind of works now. It just always kind of ends up with that, and I'd like to be. I hope that I can do stuff where I put something on social media, and then hopefully that has a positive influence on someone else. I think that's how I see it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's I don't know. I feel like I need to have because I not many of my friends like post on their social media and talk about what their career paths at the moment are. But I think I would definitely like to see it. I think it's always nice to have like a little bit of motivation and see people you're with doing bits as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's great how you're motivated by it, because I know a lot of people who see certain things and get sad about it or demotivated about it. Like I was on a phone call with my friend yesterday, and he was saying how 5 years ago, before he got on Instagram, he was always just chilling. If there was nothing to do, he'd put on Adventure Time, just jam. But now it's always this, everyone else is having fun, but you're not. And no, it's great to hear that your lens is like, okay, they're having fun, so how can I do that? That whole
Yeah,
like, how can I mindset is so powerful.
definitely. Yeah, I don't know how you get there. I think I don't know how to advise someone to get there. I don't know. Actually, no. But if you asked me that question, um, 2 years ago when I didn't really have a path, I was
Mm.
just kind of like, I'm still at uni. I'm not really doing anything. Well, I guess now that I have a bit of a path, I think it's different because I feel like my perspective right now, because I'm not still at uni, I'm ready to start working and start earning. I think that's what's changed my lens. Whereas had you asked me this a year ago, I'd have been like, man, that is putting me down 100%. And I think it's easy to think that, but you also got to question, don't be disheartened by it because you too might just be at different points in your life. Like, if you're a uni full-time student, like, when will you have the time to do a madness? Right now you're working to be able to get to that point later. And that's how you have to see it.
Mm.
Can't be disheartened by it because you can't do it right now, innit? Like, that's why again, gap year is so important because I would see that at uni, be like, I want to do that. I want to go there, man. But I have to do this first.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
no,
yeah, so I think,
that's the point.
yeah. So then I guess when you get to the other side and then your lens kind of changes and then you're like, okay, now that I'm on a path, now I can start thinking about how I can make this happen.
Mm-mm. I think I adopted a similar lens, I would say, through to being poor.
Yeah, yeah.
Like with my parents, for example, if I ask mum that, oh, can I get a PS4 controller? Oh, I can't afford that, and then that'll be the end of the conversation.
Mhm.
But then when I see my friends, for example, like for me, when someone says, oh, I want to buy a PS4, for me, it's like, okay, I can't afford it right now, but what can I do between now and, whatever period of time to be able to afford that PS4? And I transitioned that out from purely financial to similar with you, like social media. So when I see certain guys going on holiday to Bali or whatever, or America, I'm like, damn, like, let me put America 2021 in my timetable. Hopefully there's
Yes,
no
exactly.
COVID.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And then
I
you
mean,
start
yeah,
taking the
it's
steps to get there.
exactly. Yeah, I think that's maybe the mindset that people should try and adopt. don't be disheartened by seeing, someone doing bits or someone, because I think social media, it can do that to people. Like, it's so easy for you to be on social media and just see someone else on a madness, and you're just like, man, like, and especially if you see everyone doing it, you're just gonna be like, what am I doing? But rather than having that mindset, just be like, okay, how do I get there? That's, because we're all, there's no upper limit for improvement. We're all going to improve from here till, day we die. And yeah, we're not, I think we're just so young. I think it's easy to think that now, but there's just our whole lives are ahead of us. Like, we've got earning to do, we've got work to do, and then you can start doing those things. Just how you get there is a question you got to ask yourself. Because, we're not all from the same backgrounds where we can do that at 18 or we can do that at 20. Like, I got my first PS4 4 months ago. I swear down.
Mad.
I was just working at a bar, and I used to be a heavy gamer. But I had PS2, Xbox 360, heavy gamer. And then I think when I was in year 8, like 2013, maybe year 10, 2013, PS4 came out. And then, so that's 7 years of gaming that I haven't done. So, and it took me to leave uni, and obviously I always wanted one. The only time I played it was at my friend's house. And it took me 7 years to like leave uni and then get a job at a bar and then save up. And the first nice thing I got myself was a PS4. But, and that's just how it is. Not everyone has things, in their lap straight off the bat. We all come from different backgrounds, but you just have to think of how you can achieve that later on. PS4 is just a minor example. Bali is, again, I remember hearing you went to Bali. Again, like, after uni, I was like, okay, where can I go? And I said, where's the place in the world? If there's one place in the world I'd like to go, where would it be? And the first two is like World Cup final and WrestleMania. And obviously they're like $2,000, $3,000 a piece. And I was like, okay, I can't do that now. That's a bit too high. That's a bit too much. Let me put that aside. Do that for next year. Don't get disheartened by it. But like, that's a goal for a later date. But where else would I want to go? And I was like, Bali. I was like, why not? Why could I not do that? I'll work, I'll save, and I'll go. I've earned it. And I was going to go. So yeah, just can't get disheartened, man. You just got to think about how you're going to get there. I think, I've never been on that many holidays, and Bali was the big one. Straight after graduation, or just before graduation, straight after exams, I went to Rome. I went to Budapest just to have like a nice little holiday with my friends for the first time. So yeah, because I used to be disheartened as well, like, because I'd see all these people going on holidays with their mates because to just have bread. Like, I didn't really have bread, so it was nice to finally do that and get there. But yeah, just got to set goals for a later date when you do get disheartened by stuff like that.
Yeah. I had the weirdest, I guess, inspiration behind like that realization, because I was always like, how are these guys managing to go out every night, go on holiday every summer, come back and bag a first, and do all these things that I got to work so hard to even get a taste of that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then this is like, you're gonna think I'm mad for saying this, but Donald Trump, yeah.
Go on.
When he became president, I was like, this guy does not deserve any of that. I mean, in my opinion, I was like, how does someone go from like someone so hated, I guess, according to social media, to being the president of America? And at that point, I realized you're all on your own timeline. Like, it can happen for this person, for that person, for you at any point in time. And there are so many factors that you just can't control. Not necessarily like that you should be concerned about, but it's like things will always work out eventually. Like, if Donald Trump can win, like, so can we.
That's a nice, So I thought you were about to say something more mad than that. I thought you were going to say like, when he got in power, like, I was gassed. I didn't know where you were going.
Build the wall, man.
Yeah, I didn't know where you're going, but yeah, it's an interesting comparison you made there. But yeah, it genuinely, has a funny way of working out. Some, one way or another, as long as you keep set on your goals, one way or another. I think that's been like, the gist of this whole conversation. Like, one way or another, something will work out in it. Like, as long as you just stay focused on, those original goals and original intentions.
You know what I do want to say, actually, though? Because based on that point, how we've been talking a lot about setting goals and that. I think some people out there will work really hard to do something like, I don't know, start a restaurant or be big in the music industry and just never make it. I think, I feel like we've been lucky so far where like with uni, you're kind of destined to graduate unless you make a really big mistake.
Yeah.
But have you ever been in a situation where it's like you've worked so hard and just didn't work out and you've had to give up? And then if you have been in that, how have you managed to know when to quit?
Ooh, like, so have I just straight up quit? Not yet. I don't think. I want to say I'm very lucky to be able to say that. I don't think I've been very close. I'm very lucky to say that I haven't just yet, but I've been very close. And like when you mentioned, like the very close is in like, you know, the second year exams where everything was going on and, you know, I wanted to quit and wanted to drop out and stuff. I was close. And I think like when you just try to be a musician or like you open a restaurant and it just doesn't happen, you don't make it. Like we mentioned earlier, the point about, you know, you have to take a step back and just persevere. And whether, you know, you have to persevere one way or another. It might not, maybe this isn't the immediate goal for you. Maybe it could be the later goal. Like you said, the Google and Tesla thing. Just because it didn't work out now might not mean it won't work out later, or at least there might be another route, or because I don't know. I guess that applies to the restaurant thing, but the music thing, I don't know. Because that one's a bit too
close to home.
like it's not even, close to home, but like restaurant one is like one way or another, eventually you might be able to reach it. But music is just so, because it's such a competitive and there's just a flood of music out there. It's genuinely possible where you just have to go like, no, it's not going to happen. No, just leave it. I actually don't know, you know. What do you think? I don't have an answer for that, unfortunately. I'm actually a mad one. Yeah.
For me, like, I wouldn't say I've ever quit anything either, to be fair. But the closest example I can give is with football, where like I eventually just started refereeing instead because I didn't think football was going anywhere.
Could have went pro.
Could have went pro, yeah, before the hammy though.
Yeah.
I think in that capacity, like that was more or less one, self-awareness, knowing that, look, I'm not Messi, I'm not Ronaldo, I'm not going to be the GOAT. So I kind of have to know where I stand. And in the second circumstance is like, I could keep pushing through it, but at the same time, I need money now, whereas I can go pro later. And then trying to readjust my focus to the more, I guess, prevalent priority, which at the time was money.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's what I was asking. Cause I've never thought about it either.
Yeah.
Trying to find that point where, like, oh crap, this actually is a bad idea. Let me stop and do something else. Because I don't know, man. I feel like people fall into that trap so much. Like people that apply to uni, for example, that don't need to be here, that end up dropping out. It's like, if you had just thought about it earlier and just been aware, then maybe you wouldn't have made that mistake in the first place.
Yeah. Again, it might just be something you learn. I think that might just be one of those things you have to learn the hard way, because I don't know if I'll ever have an answer to that until I'm at a point where I genuinely am in a situation. I'm like, okay, I have to stop. I have to quit now. It's just not going anywhere. And I think that's just something life is just going to throw at you, you know? Yeah, because, and the thing is, like what you said about uni, no one tells you, this is what I find so hard. Like, no one tells you that uni isn't the be all and end all. Like, everyone always kind of says like, uni degree. Whereas I've seen so many people, not go to uni, not have the best A levels, but they worked and they got, you know, their apprenticeships and now they're at Big Four, or, you know, like, you know, and they've been working and they have cars and they have, you know, that's wealth. Like, a car's an asset. They have cars and stuff. And we've been told from such a young age, like, you have to go to uni and do this and do that, where there are so many other opportunities where, you know, that if we were taught about, then people who maybe didn't want to apply to uni, or maybe the people where uni wasn't for them and they ended up dropping out, where had they known, they would have been on a different path right now. But no one tells you. And I think that's quite like an issue we have in like education. No one really tells you about all these other options. They just kind of say, if you don't get these grades, you ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, I remember my chemistry teacher said that. It's like, oh yeah, I think I didn't go to a lesson, in college, and the chemistry teacher saw me the next day. He's like, oh, okay, I hope you're ready to go in the unemployment line because, you know, you're not going to get your A-levels and you're not getting into uni. So I hope you're ready, to get in the queue. I was like, what?
Jeez.
What do you mean, man? But yeah, it's not the be all and end all. And I think more people definitely need to be taught that. There's so many other options.
So true, man.
Yeah.
I think what I learned from that answer as well is that it's very important to have, similar to us who have podcasts and music and that, to have a side hustle. Because at any point, like, let's say, you got kicked out of college because you missed that one day, which I know is a ridiculous example, but it will be, if you just have something to fall back on, that, I think knowing that there's something there for you if things don't work out is such a big asset, because it means you could, like, there's no pressure to like kill yourself for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And also just a side hustle that's like you're passionate about and you enjoy. Like, like you said, like if something went wrong and you had something to fall back on, at least it's something you're falling back on and you're not upset about falling back on it, because you're going to enjoy it in the podcast. I'll enjoy, music. It's, it might not go as far as I'd ever like it to, but at least it's something I'll enjoy and it's just there, Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely a lesson there with, knowing about uni, because I literally thought if I didn't get in, like, life was over.
Same.
Yeah, it's mad.
And especially now, like, with this, I know the way you pay off the debt shouldn't affect you too much, but again, it's still a lot. Like, it's still something it's still just not. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to know that you have that debt on you, and you'll be paying it for so long. But for some people, that just might not be it, especially when it's $9,000 now, maybe going to be more. People should be told that there are other options, even cheaper options, because a lot of these places, if you just have passed your English and maths at GCSE and, got like CCC A-level, like, you'll still get good jobs. Like, definitely there are apprenticeships or foundation years or courses that will get you onto a good path.
Yeah. Yeah, well put, man.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed that I asked that question, because now I don't know the answer to it and I want to figure it out.
Like the quitting one.
I'm like starting to like when should I call quits? Like, is uni right for me? I'm like deep in life right now.
Yeah, I know. I think that's one you just got to learn the hard way. I don't know how. I don't know. I genuinely don't have the answer. I feel like you have to. I wouldn't be talking from a place of experience if I tried to answer that question. I'd be talking from like speculation.
Yeah, initiative.
Yeah, exactly. But just got to see, man. Hopefully it never comes to it, and let's say it that way. Otherwise, it's just a test. It's just another test life going to throw us.
Yeah. Life always throws these curveballs.
Exactly. It's not going to be a walk in the park, man. Sure.
Trust me, man. Trust. All right. That's essentially all the questions I got for you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. If you anything you want to plug, now's the time to do it.
Plug? Yeah. Feel free to listen to my music if you want. It's called 401, and there's just 12 songs on it. It's just like acoustic guitar, like folk stuff if you want to hear it. That's it, really. Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, that's what Samir Kabir on Spotify, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't even say my own name. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Dope. All right. It's great having you on, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. It's a good chat.